an international meeting to launch Musawah, a global movement for justice and equality for Muslim family, is being held in Malaysia for the first time. Despite receiving protests from Persatuan Ulama Malaysia, Penang, the 5 days global meeting has successfully gathered 250 participants from 49 Muslim countries. Musawah, as a global movement, demands that Muslim women are treated as equal in the law, family and community. But is Malaysia ready for changes that will ensure equality and justice in Islam?
There's actually a reason why, which is not limited to time or even to Muslims, and that is that the way that we conceive of the world as human beings, based on our experiences with the world as human beings, is set for a radical change. 300 years from now, even the distinctions that we hold as sacred and important to us as Muslims may not be possible to sustain and still live on this planet Earth. So we may come to a point where, the lovely distinctive dress that we have from all these women here, we may come to a point where we can't wear material cloth because we have endangered the resources on the earth, so we really will have a monolith uniform. The question about whether or not certain values, to me, that are intrinsic to Islam are inclusive of what we use to define ourselves as human beings at this later juncture in the future, I think it's really important. I think Musawah is a very concrete step along that way, where we actually are living by the Tawheed paradigm that is in a relationship of equality and justice between us and every other person. And so Musawah is a part of a Muslim movement globally, but the global movement is going to be more than Muslims, and Muslims are going to be a part of it, and I think that Musawah is already on that trajectory.
Musawah ini spiritnya adalah bagaimana supaya laki-laki dan perempuan itu duduk bersama, kemudian merumuskan bersama apa yang disebut sebagai keadilan Islam. Terutama dalam soal keluarga, di mana keluarga itu tidak mungkin laki-laki sendirian membuat keluarga, pasti ada laki-laki dan perempuan. Karena itu misalnya sejak pertama kali harus dirumuskan bahwa keluarga itu untuk kedua belah pihak gitu. Di Indonesia kita perempuan sudah mulai berbicara ya, ketika misalnya soal tidak hanya spesifik di dalam hukum keluarga ya, misalnya soal kekerasan dalam rumah tangga. Nah, begitu perempuan menyuarakan ada problem, ada keganasan di dalam perempuan yang dalam jumlah yang sangat serius, kemudian kita lalu melakukan advokasi dan jadilah undang-undang anti kekerasan, penghapusan kekerasan dalam rumah tangga. Kita sudah punya itu di Indonesia.
Just as you have in all other countries, the issues of women are always an addendum, that is after. You have to scream, you have to talk and talk and talk. So with a project like Musawah, it gives us room again to bring in an additional voice to speak to the issues of women's rights. We believe the voice that Musawah brings, or we will take away from here, is an additional voice, a very strong one, backed by over 48 other Muslim jurisdictions, to say to Nigerian Muslim men and institutions that it is possible to review and to reform our Islamic family laws such that we grant the basic principles of Islam, justice and equality for all its adherents, including women and especially women. The fact that women came together looking at one issue from different perspectives, but looking at it from the perspective of first human dignity for the woman. Because once the woman has human dignity, equality becomes a given issue. Muslim women are now using a strategy to say every woman. So the voices are added. The collective becomes the strength, not the division of whether we are Muslim women, or we are black women, or we are Arabs, or we are this or we that. No, the collective and the umbrella of womanhood and the desire for human dignity, justice and equality in terms of the opportunities we have, in terms of the treatment we receive either in or out of marriages is very, very important. And I think that is one very strong tool that will keep Musawah going, inshallah.
In Pakistan, we have also 1980s and 90s where we suffered under notion of Sharia. But that was a particular rigid military dictator's interpretation and controlling mechanism, and that regime was specifically anti-women. Then in the same country, because of the long-standing work and the oppression which people suffer, and the work of the women rights groups and human rights groups, and of course international communities' support and solidarity, enabled to undo some of the things. Like in 2006, some of the most oppressive laws like Hudud ordinances, specifically zina enforcement of Hudud law, which became actually a sort of trademark towards recognition of Pakistan, or anything linked to Pakistan was oppression against women and that particular law. Though it was not repealed, but it was seriously amended, and that generated a success and a feeling that all those things which particular perceptions say that these are Sharia or these are divine and unchangeable, ultimately get changed, and those are man-made laws, and those can be changed, and notion of equality and justice can prevail. But at the same time, again, the situation in Pakistan vis-a-vis certain aspects, and specifically our tribal areas and in Swat Valley, is not very good, and specifically against women. Girls' schools are being burned, health workers are being harassed or prevented from work. So Pakistan is always step forward, step back, step sideways. But at the same time, Pakistan has ratified CEDAW Convention. It has ratified Convention on the Rights of the Child. Last year, it again became party to Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ratified economic, social, cultural rights, and so it's a mixed bag.
A lot of us have been dealing with emerging issues that we didn't have in the past. Forced divorce, early marriages, violence against children, for example. Now, forced divorce is a relatively new issue that started about almost 2 years now, and how it was dealt with. We didn't have anything such as forced divorce. We didn't have such things as marriages that were what we call misyad and misyaf marriages. These are marriages that are very short-term marriages. All of these are emerging issues. So how are they dealt with in court, and is there family law? We don't have family law practices. That's what we need. We need family law within the Sharia, where you have judges and lawyers and female lawyers approach these issues and set precedents. In Medina Munawwara, where we can't visit a Rawda, which is, the Rawda, and we can't visit it except for a few hours, set hours, instead of the whole day and night where we used to in the past be able to visit. Now it's where you're set hours. Now recently, last week, for example, I heard that we have 3 different timings as opposed to 1 or 2 timings, but still it's very tight. And the way they take us through on the side, there's a panel, you go behind it, so it makes it very, very difficult. In God's eyes, there's no differentiation between a woman and a man. So these are cultural things that have crept into the faith in different countries, in different regions. So that's something we have to deal with right now. And it surfaces, it goes back and forth. There's some ages where it gets fixed a bit and then it goes back again. It's what I call the pendulum effect. It swings one way and then swings back again. So it depends on the political situation, it depends on the crises we have. In the Middle East, for example, you have the Gaza right now, and you have Iraq and Afghanistan and Muslim countries and so forth. So it really depends. Every time we have a war, the ravages of war lead to inequality. You have more gender issues rising out of wars.
Musawah is about getting our voice out there in the public space at the national level, at the regional level, at the international level. We don't have access to mosques. We don't have ready access to radio and television like others have. What we need to thank now is really the great work of the media team in getting our voices out to the media. So we really thank all the media present here, the international media, the regional media, and the local media, who have given us really tremendous support in covering Musawah. Thank you so much. Bon voyage.